wanting to make content, or you're already making content and you feel that you have some throat chakra blockages where you're not able to articulate or communicate in the ways that you desire, I'm going to share a quantum recalibration for you in your energy field. This is one that I led a client through a few moments ago, and I wanted to come on and share it with her permission as well to support you on your journey. When I went into her energy field, I was speaking to the consciousness of her business, and I asked her business, what do you need from her? Okay, my client, she said, I need her to speak her truth. It is how you are building your communication and your leadership abilities. Oftentimes we are trepidatious about creating content in the first place because we're very worried about how it is going to be received by other people, when we need to turn the reflection back on self and say, I am doing this for me as a soul to grow and evolve. This is a video diary of the transformations that I am in real time seeing within myself. And then I'm also taking people on that journey. But ultimately, it is for me to better discover myself. Then I saw her throat chakra was dried up like the Sahara Desert. The feeling that was there was not having enough water when you're like so thirsty, or just feeling like you're not getting enough air. She wasn't able to speak with me to tell me what was going on. So I said, hey, why don't we come sit over on these rocks over here with one another, these boulders? And because she could not speak, I said, can I hold your hand so I could better tell what was going on in her energy? Then she tried to articulate how she was feeling, but it was still not coming up. And I said, no words, no speaking. Okay? Oftentimes that creates resistance of trying to figure out what is going on, where if we sit in stillness and switch into receiving mode and just waiting for things to naturally happen, like still coming in with curiosity of what is going on here, but then sitting back and patiently awaiting the answers to arise within us, that is where we're going to find the highest form of insight. And so we're sitting there with one another, and then we actually astral projected into her throat chakra with one another. And I said, hey, do you see those cobwebs up there? She nodded yes. I said, do you want me to go take a look at what is going on up there? She said yes. I said, okay, hold this ladder for me. And so she's sitting down at the bottom holding it steady because it's very tall. And what I plucked out of it was a very tiny seed. I walked down the ladder and I said, what does this look like to you? And she said, a mustard seed. I said, faith of a mustard seed. Not to bring kind of religious concepts in here, but you know, that's like a higher esoteric concept anyway. But faith of a mustard seed. I said, why do you think that I pulled this from behind the cobwebs? Hiding. And she was a little bit unsure, and I said, okay, well, hold out your hand. And I put it within, and she said, I want to go plant it because then maybe I can see with better clarity. So we both went outside, put the mustard seed in the ground, and then it blossomed into this enormous tree of life. And she looked at me and said, that was within me? And I said, that is you. It is an expression of your soul, just like your business. Would you tell the tree of life that it is not wise, or that it has nothing to offer? I said, no. You would bask in all of her glory. That is how your higher self wants you to start seeing yourself. An infinite being of knowledge and wisdom. This is where you are going to completely shift your self-concept and the way that you're showing up in the world and the way that the world is showing up for you. I say, everything I say is amazing. Everything I say is fantastic, and it changes people's lives. It changes my own lives. I am brilliant, articulate. I'm a great leader. I'm a walking miracle. People heal by simply being in my presence. It doesn't matter what I'm talking about. I could be talking about rocks. Or I can be talking about these high esoteric concepts. Whatever it is, it's not always about the things that I am actually saying. Sometimes it's about showing up. Sometimes it's about being consistent. Sometimes it is about being vulnerable and authentic and expressing your creative outlets. It's you existing as you and other people being able to bask in your presence of healing and bringing light and joy and magic and whimsy into the world. Just like the tree of life. We're not necessarily asking something of her. We're just appreciative of being around her. That is how you need to start seeing yourself, because then it's not difficult to make content. It's, I'm expressing myself through doing this. It is helping me grow and evolve as a multidimensional being, and other people get to come along on that journey, and then we're going to co-collaborate and experience this incarnation with one another. I'm going to be a leader in my own life so that I can teach other people to be a leader in their lives. And a question that her higher self wants everyone to pose to themselves is, what is my truth? About anything in reality. Right? One of the things that my client said was, well, I feel like that I don't have any individualistic values and beliefs to talk about. It's always kind of feeling like a regurgitation of what somebody else is saying. I said, your messaging will never be the messaging of another because you are your own sovereign being that has very specific perspectives and experiences that you are filtering concepts and beliefs and values through. It is always going to be an individualized experience. A lot of times people need to hear things from different people in different lenses talking about the exact same thing, and that's how they put the larger puzzle together. I also mentioned that if you have some younger versions of you, inner children, teens, or young adults that are saying like, oh, well, I don't want to be stealing someone's content and regurgitating that. I was like, oh, that's a paradigm that we're living in though. What if instead you say, that message was so incredibly amazing. I'm appreciative and grateful for them, and in reverence, not only for them, but for my own unique experience, I'm gonna put my own flavor on it. And you can always tag that person if you want to, or you can say, hey, I was inspired by XYZ. That is a paradigm of unity consciousness, of sharing is caring. I'm going to take this concept that this person said, and I am going to share my love and light through that idea that they had. That is benefiting everyone. It is sharing the wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and insights and love that you have to offer during this lifetime. That is never a negative thing. Start seeing yourself as the tree of life in your reality. Everyone is showing up at the base of you under your beautiful branches and leaves to receive the energy that you have to share. They are excited, they are hyped, they are ready for you. I would love to hear in the comments if this shifted your perspective, if it got you really hyped. And if you are ready to explore your soul's next evolution, you know where to find me. Remember to give a follow to join the community, and I'm wishing you an absolutely magical day.